Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Those of you who are current subscribers, you'll know what this video means. Washer and dryer sounds in the background. I'm sorry. Anyways, this is a video about my dad's 94 Mustang. So he's rebuilding the engine. So I thought I'd video some of that for you guys to have for posterity's sake. So a little backstory on the car. My dad bought it when I was 14, 1997, and it's a 94 GT, so it was only a few years old. My dad grew up in the 60s and 70s and had lots of hot rods. He had a couple of pretty quick cars in high school, and like a lot of guys, got married and the fun cars went away. So he bought a 75 Porsche 914 when I was a little kid and restored that. It was one of those cars that you kind of always had to work on, and it was reliable. He drove it to work quite a bit, but anyways, he ended up getting rid of that and he bought a 94 Mustang because he was a drag raced a lot in high school. That's kind of what he did. So a Porsche 914 isn't really a drag race car, so he wanted to get back into drag racing and want a V8 again, and typical midlife crisis situation. So he picked up a Mustang, and I grew up with that car from the time I was 13, 14 years old all the way through high school. I went to senior prom in it. I washed it weekly for him and waxed it all the time. Took really good care of the car. We went drag racing probably every other week, and he was always trying out new parts and a lot of homemade stuff on that car, home ported heads and intake and homemade suspension stuff and things like that. So anyways, it's a cool car. It's been in the family a long time, has a lot of miles on it, still in pretty good shape minus the paint. But anyways, my brother's helping him with money for the rebuild on the motor. My dad bought a transmission and a bunch of stuff. So anyways, this is the first video. Now that you had the backstory on the car, I'll put a couple pictures at the end of the video showing you the car from the old days. So anyways, I hope you enjoy it. Next video will probably be long block, and the one after that will probably be putting it in the car and first startup, hopefully. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy it, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment. We'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So we have a new little series we're going to do here, a few videos. This is the motor for my dad's 94 Mustang. A little backstory: he bought the car in 1997 when I was 14 years old, almost 14 years old. And anyways, been in the family the whole time. How many miles did it have on Dad? 271,000 miles, and probably 150 or more drag passes over the years. So had a lot of miles on it. It was still running pretty good, but my dad always wanted to rebuild the motor and put better heads on it and a bunch of other stuff. So my brother helped him out a little bit, and he sold his Subaru and got together the funds needed to buy all the parts and do the machine work and everything else. So he's got the short block pretty much done. He's got one more piston left to put in there. He's got pretty much everything else ready to go, painted. Got a bunch of parts over here. So it's all smog legal actually. He's got a cam for it and some AFR heads. And this manifold is actually a Explorer intake manifold. If any of you are familiar with 5.0 stuff, it's basically a GT40 manifold that's available, or that came on the Explorers from the late 90s. So he actually cut open the end of this and ported the runners, ported them quite a bit. So originally this motor had, my dad ported the heads on it, and it had roll rockers, but stock cam, stock bottom end, and the car ran at 1285 at 106 on slicks. So pretty good. The car had a lot of little suspension tweaks on it so it could launch really well. And I think it dynoed it, what, 260?
253
Yeah.
to the wheels at 280 torque.
Yeah, so 250-ish horsepower to the tires, so that's
About 280.
Yeah, it's a little under 300 horse. So that's high 12s was pretty impressive for the horsepower rating. So, anyways, the car should make in the upper 300s. I'm thinking mid 300s to upper 300s at the crank with this setup. So, right now he's assembling the last piston here. The machine shop balanced everything and pressed the pins in for the new pistons and everything else. These are the original rods.
My protectors on here.
So he just pushed in the bearing. And he's got these on to protect the crank while he slides the piston and rod combination down in there. And we got the rings here. So that's the oil ring.
Expander for the oil ring.
Yeah, the oil ring is a double layer ring setup.
Yeah, it's two.
They're really thin rings.
So you can spiral these on pretty easily. I think they're made out of stainless steel, but I'm not sure. So one gap there and the other gap over here.
So he also got a new transmission for the car. The original one he had rebuilt a couple of times and starting to get a little long in the tooth. And it always had a vibration in it for some reason. I think in third gear it vibrated pretty bad. Fourth, yeah. So it's got a.
So here's the difference in these rods. So the upper one, the dot goes up, and these are like a plasma moly, I think. And then this one, you have to really look, but right there it says top. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, barely.
So that goes in that's the second ring. This one's a bear to get in. I don't really have piston ring expanding pliers, so I'm just using these. There. That's the hard one. This one's a little easier.
You clock those 90 degrees from each
Yeah,
other?
one over here, and
Kind of 180-ish.
the two oil ones are an inch apart off the pin, according to the book over there. Just using the Haynes book.
So the last time I saw the insides of a small block Ford was when I was in high school and we built a motor for my 68 Cougar. That was using
Didn't we put the pistons in backwards?
much cheaper quality parts. Yeah, so we it's nice.
I thought we put the pistons in.
We installed the pistons backwards on purpose. That's supposedly a small block Ford trick you can do to.
I think it works on any engine because what it does is it makes it act like it's got a longer rod.
It changes the geometry of everything a little bit because the pins are offset on the piston. So
it makes it sit at top dead center and bottom dead center longer, so you can get more. Okay, so I got one gap here, one gap. Where are you? Over here. All right. Now to find the messy part.
So you definitely have to use a lot of lube on these parts when you drop them in. Just keep from.
So I bought this Lucas Oil break-in oil. It's got more zinc in it. Help the rings seat.
Yeah, this is a roller cam motor,
Yes.
so you don't have to worry about breaking a cam in, but
Yeah.
still got to break the rings in.
So this is lube. These are hyper-eutectic pistons. I believe they're Summit branded, but I believe they're made by Speed Pro. They're pretty friggin' heavy.
So here we got the crank
That cranks at the bottom.
crank drum in there to accept the rod. So it's dark outside, otherwise I'd show you guys the car, but next video we do, maybe when the motor gets final assembly, then we'll take a quick look at the car if it's uncovered. Yeah, so the car's been in the family for a long time. A lot of years, even though it doesn't really seem like it to us, but if you look at the years, it's been a while.
These suckers are really tight. Come on.
Is the rod in the over the crank?
It's out of the way. They're just hard to get started once you get them in there.
Oh, there it goes. That's snug.
So what I've been doing is locking that up like that. This piston ring
compressor there.
compressor has seen better days. It's not working very good. Several of these I've had to, because it's got these teeth and they won't stay engaged.
So once you seat everything, you just tap on the top of the piston with a rubber mallet. Just drive her on home. Make sure that the compressor stays flush to the surface there. Doesn't.
I don't know if it's going to work. Oops, got it on the first one.
There you go.
Awesome. That's over.
So he's got the block all cleaned up. They had it, what's bored to 30 over, right?
Yeah.
Bored 30 over and line honed and balanced.
No, I didn't line.
Oh, okay.
Just
So
balanced and
decked, balanced, and
decked.
the crank was good enough just to polish. So the crank's been polished.
Yeah, it's a little. It's a little. It's got a lot of bearing clearance, but I bought a high volume oil pump that should take care of that. I mean, we used to run them like this when I was a kid all the time. And the one I had, 289, I had revved to 8,000 RPMs and blew the flywheel off of it with stock rods in it and everything.
So are these the original main bolts? Or
Yeah, those are originals. Okay, so. Come here, hammer.
those fresh rings are nice and snug in there.
Slam it home.
So once the
Now we'll do a plastic gauge.
oh, okay.
Show you how to do that.
Check bearing clearance here.
Just a little piece of plastic.
A little piece of plastic you put on the crank, and then you bolt the cap down. And what happens is it squeezes that plastic, and there's a little chart that it comes with, and whatever it smashes out to, the width will show you.
Yeah, here's the charts. That's the one I've been using.
So that's the chart. So whatever the width of the plastic is, after you bolt the cap down.
Okay, so tang to tang. So the tang is there. And the tang is there. There's Molly assembly lube on these nuts.
Are those new hardware on the rods or no?
No. Poor things. So I've been torquing these down to just 20 foot-pounds for the plastic gauge so I don't overstretch the bolts too much. Retorquing and torquing. Because I know on 4.6s, their rod bolts are torque to yield, so you gotta replace them.
Yep. That's how a lot of the modern parts are. Now, these are still American size bolts, right? Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, 4.6 is it?
It's all metric.
Metric crap.
Yeah.
So I got my trusty Harbor Freight. This is a smaller one. I got a bigger one too for doing the heads. So let's see, there's 20. That's 15. 20.
Alright, so let's see with that plastic.
See it kind of smashed out.
So some of it's stuck to the others, to the
Yeah.
bearing, but
I can still see the width of
the residue on there.
So that's a 3. Yeah.
Looks like it's wider than that. Looks like it's more like that one right there, yeah.
It's a 2. That would be really tight. Most of them have been 3. Yeah, it's closer to 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.8. Something like that. Okay, so now you take this bag off. There's a plastic scraper so you don't mess up your bearing. This off. Shot to make sure those are cleaned off. Make sure the bearings in all the way. On beam. Put it in there, so then you put this lube on, but you stay away from the cracks so you don't get oil between. It would keep your rod from fitting tang to tang. And put some juice down the oil hole too.
Hey, is there a way to prime the
Yeah.
oil system before you
Yeah.
start it?
Yep.
Should be able to put a drill on a
Yep.
thing and
Yeah,
pull the
that
distributor
there's
out.
the shaft.
Yeah. So
I
this
won't be
is
using that shaft, but I got a.
this is the distributor. So this shaft right here. So this, the cam turns this, and then this is like a drive shaft that goes into the oil pump. So this actually, when the distributor turns, it turns the oil pump.
So there's the oil pump down there.
So you can.
You can see the.
Yeah, this
That's
is,
the old oil pump. I'm not putting that one.
this is
back
the old
in.
oil pump. So the shaft goes through the center of the hole there.
So the pump I got for it is a high volume from Summit. I got everything from Summit. Summit rings, Summit pistons, Cleveite bearings.
So what you'll do before you start it is you basically put a drill motor on that shaft.
Yeah.
You pull the distributor out, and you can
Spin
turn the pump over until you get oil through the whole motor. So do you go in stages for torquing this, or is it all at once? I
just go 20 and then wait a minute and go 24. So here's the lifters. I got them soaking in oil. Supposed to get all the air bubbles out of them.
These are new roller lifters.
Those are the high performance Ford racing ones.
Okay.
Supposed to be about 500 or 600 RPMs better than stock. So here's final torque is 24. Boom.
Cool. Give all of them a little checkaroo. And so next would be the cam, right? Technically.
Yeah, cam and timing chain stuff.
Cam, timing chain.
I'll just give her a spin and make sure she spins. I left my crank bolt in the engine when in the crank when I took it to the machine shop, and he had to take it out to put it in the lathe to polish it. Awesome, turns good.
Cool. Fresh motor.
It's got really good compression height too on the pistons.
Yeah, that's sweet.
They're only about 6 thousandths in the hole.
Remember the
I think
pistons?
Corey and Chris figured out it's about 9.8 to 1 maybe with these heads.
So on the 302 of my 68 Cougar, they had cheap pistons in it, and they were, I don't know, what, 30 in the hole or 20 in the hole. They were way down in there. They were way down in there.
They were right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can barely feel that little step there.
6 thousandths.
Cool. Yeah, that car probably had about 8 to 1 compression because it had dish pistons and.
So one thing I forgot to check is the side clearance. I've been seeing 10. Yep. 10 thousandths goes right in.
What do the specs call out?
10 to 20.
Oh wow, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and then the rear main's already in, right?
The main's in.
It's a one-piece deal.
Yeah, and I did that before I put the main cap on. I went online and some guy said, "Yeah, do it then," and the other guy said, "Oh, you can't do it then. You got to hammer it in."
Yeah.
So I did it before I.
Did you open?
I ported those out a little, so I just radiused everything so the oil drained back, because a high volume pump's could suck the pan dry.
Just run a little extra oil in there too.
I'll run another half quart.
Cool. All the pan and rocker covers are painted. Here's the old transmission. So it's a comp cams. What's the number on it? 2 what?
I call it a 260 XC264 is
264.
So it's 264 duration on the intake and 270 on the exhaust. And then at 50 it's 212 and 218, and lobe separation is 114. So it's actually
pretty good lobe separation.
Less than stock on the duration. I think the stock duration is 270.
Huh.
But it's 512 lift. And here's my book. I've been keeping track of all the measurements, specs, and everything.
Cool.
How much everything cost? Yikes.
Well, hopefully the next video we'll have we'll do.
Yeah, I got to put the cam and lifters in and mock up the heads and make sure the push rods are the right length, and make sure they'll clear these shiny little roller rockers.
Ooh, yeah. Some fresh roller rockers. Those are pedestal or stud mount.
So we got the poly locks. So that's what's going to probably hit the top of the valve cover.
Oh, okay.
So let's see.
Cool.
A lot of room to probably just have to run some more valve cover gaskets for right now.
Sweet.
Then I got one piece oil pan.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
These are really super nice.
Way better than the old stuff.
Oh yeah. Like I got this gasket kit from Summit. It's supposed to be a premium set. Well, can hardly use anything out of it because it has 6 water pump gaskets in it and only none of them fit. So I had to go buy a separate one.
Yeah, boy.
And then I didn't like how the intake gasket looked either. It didn't have the right shaping on the water torch. But so this is a high volume pump.
Who makes the pump? Is it a Melling or something?
Made by Summit, but I bet
okay.
it's made by Milling. I think it had a Milling number on it.
Probably.
Somewhere.
Cool.
So I got a new pump, and I got a, because everybody said that, when we used to have it happen when I was a kid, because no one made anything, but I got a ARP mix is awesome.
The drive shaft.
World's drive shaft is friggin'.
Oh, wow. Looks way beefier.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Big difference over a stock one.
Because they used to twist, and then you
Yeah, and your
have
hose.
no oil pressure, and phew, goes your motor. So I mean, for the price, I think it was $20 or something.
Yeah.
Especially it was recommended with high volume pumps because it puts more drag on the.
Yep.
More load on the shaft.
Cool. Well, in the next video, hopefully we'll see some long block assembly.
Yeah.
You can see all the really pretty parts on there. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.